Hey guys, Zach here with Escapes, and today I'm going to be doing a rescape on this little nano aquarium that you can see in front of you. Now, I only set this aquarium up like 2 or 3 months ago, and it just really hasn't taken. You can see that the fern up top has died. None of the aquatic plants are doing very well except for the moss, and the tannins just keep coming back even when I do water changes. As you can see though, I've kind of left it and there's some algae buildup on the front glass. That's whatever. So I just want to do a rescape on this. So let me get this cleaned up and then we can get into it. Now in the last scape in this tank, you saw that I had this big piece of cork bark and some other rocks and stuff, and that really created too much room for hardscape and I didn't leave enough room for planting. I want to try to keep this low tech, so I need to leave a lot of room for planting, and I also need to leave enough room for hardscape that light can actually get to the plants. Now how I've thought I'm going to solve that is by using this spray foam right here. You can get this at any hardware store, and it's really great. When I spray it into a pile, it looks like this, but if I take it off and I flip it upside down, you can see that it kind of starts to look like a sky island. Now, if I can coat these in sand and secure them somehow to the bottom, as long as they're still buoyant, they should create floating islands in this tank. Now, well, this one is still black and it doesn't look natural, and it's got that spray foam texture. You know, I've carved it the best I could, but it's still got that spray foam kind of glisten texture, and it just is not that appealing, especially in a plant tank. But if I use just a little bit of super glue and some sand, I can create this. This is obviously a smaller one, but this is the same thing, just covered in sand and super glue. And I think that this makes it look sort of rock-like, and it should create a floating island. Now, all I'm doing to achieve this rocky look is I'm just going to take some super glue, spread it on one side, take a gloved hand, because this stuff will get all over, rub it into that side. Now with that all in, I'm just going to press it really hard, press it nice and hard into the sand, and you can see it comes out looking pretty decent. Now I just repeat this on every side. Now with all 3 of the foam islands done, I'm going to use this little thin fishing line, and I'm going to basically just stick it through the bottom with a little metal piece, tie it up, and then hopefully attach it to a rock under the substrate so it'll float. Now all I'm going to do is just use this small metal skewer to puncture a hole through this little foam chunk, and with it through, now I can pull the skewer back out, use some tape, attach the line to the skewer, go back through those previously made holes, and then remove the tape once I get it to the other side, and this allows me to have the line attached to this island. Now that I've got the line through and I've tied it onto this piece of foam, I'm just going to kind of measure out the height back here and tie it to this little rock, and that should anchor down this island. And then I'm just going to repeat the process for this one, and then I'm going to do this one as well, but I'm going to need a bigger rock for that. So let me get that all done and I'll show you guys. Now, as you guys can see, I've got each one taped up to a rock, and there's some of the fishing line going to each of them, and I've tied it back down. So this isn't the solution, like I'll probably end up taking the tape off, but right now what I want to do is I just want to fill up this tank and even see if this idea is going to work. Now with it filled up, I'm going to start with the small one, just to even see how it goes, and then if this works, I'm going to be super happy. Okay. Looking at that, it looks like I did leave a little too much string on there, and it looks like it's pulled up, but it doesn't look like it's too bad. I'm going to move on to this bigger one, and this one has a lot less than that, so hopefully this one is going to stay actually towards underwater, towards the bottom. Oh, look at that! Oh, yes! That's awesome! So I just need to shorten the string on this smaller one, And I believe I'm going to have to shorten it on this bigger one too, but this should work, so that's really cool. Alright, so it's the next day, and after using the tape, I've tried to get rid of most of the tape and just use some super glue on all these rocks. And now I want to start the actual scape inside the tank, now that I've got this all done. And the first thing I'm going to do is just add in some topsoil as a base layer. And then once I get the topsoil in, I'm going to place in the rocks where the island's attached to. And then I'm going to cover that with sand and try to make it look like there's really just nothing supporting them and holding them down. Now in order to blend it, I'm not actually going to add in any more large stones. I'm just going to use some pea gravel and try and round it up and look like it's all together as one. Now with all the hardscaping done, it was pretty easy. I'm just going to fill this up until all the islands are floating but not fully submerged. Now with this sort of filled up and all the islands are floating, I want to get to planting.